Greetings. This is Skyler Saunders seeing what's current. Well, it's late night for me. I usually come around on this channel on this platform around 4 p.m., 5 o'clock at the latest. Sometimes earlier, around 2, 3. But this is kind of late, going at late in the evening after 8 o'clock. So bear with me. It's a special edition of Skyler Saunders Seeing. It's my stories. I'm going to read uh, pieces and different articles that I've written for vocal.media. I just got a big boost in viewership today, so I'm celebrating that. I hope you enjoy my stories. I'm inject as much flair and flavor and suspense as possible. I think I might have even read one of the stories before, but there's definitely new ones I'm going to cover. So strap in and sit tight, relax, sit back, do what you got to do, whatever you have to do to make sure your ears are attuned to receive these stories. All right, so I'm going to start off with this one. This is from about 4 months ago, back in November. It is man on trial for Philly and Delaware murders. Keith Gibson is under scrutiny in first day of trial for 6 murders. The time doesn't seem to be on his side, despite the defense arguing reasonable doubt. Keith Gibson is accused of ending the lives of multiple people, including a 28-year-old Leslie Ruiz Basilio. She worked at a T-Mobile in Ellesmere, Delaware. The signs outside of an establishment reflecting the deep sentiment and sorrow that the neighborhood expressed showed in English and Spanish. Apparently, the woman on the forefront was her mother, according to the sign reading, "You mistreated my poor girl," and the stride in the picture seemed true. Sure, true. Lead prosecutor APPAREL looks to put Gibson in prison for a long time. This is a hired gun that is loaded and locked on the target. She has evidence that concerns the bicycle's serial number and a receipt. Eyewitnesses picked up a figure wearing a hoodie similar to the hoodie that Gibson wore. Like a puzzle, Carell said pieces of evidence fit together. During a robbery of a Rite Aid in Wilmington, surveillance video presents 2 figures, one stealing cigarettes, the other brandishing a firearm in the face of the cashier, further deepened Carell's ideas for a solid prosecution. The best part about the holdup was that the cashier gave the assailant a cash bundle with the tracker intact. It's not just Delaware that Gibson is wanted for murder. He allegedly experienced life in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania as well. Gibson will maybe spend the rest of his life in prison, all because of his unreason and inability to find a purpose. Still, he's on probation. Yet, he has not been convicted. With just a glimmer of light in the decision of the jury to ensure that he be punished or not, that is in the hands of Carell and defense attorney Richard Sparacco. The balances of the law do not favor anyone or anything but the evidence. Gibson is not unfamiliar with being arrested after a robbery that left no one dead. The man is not unfamiliar with the penal system, as he was locked up for a 2008 manslaughter charge, including a shooting and robbery. Gibson is on a different plane. Sparacco's defense seems slight according to the slim amount of coverage offered by a news journal writer. Xerxes Wilson provides little details concerning his defense and is heavy on the prosecution. He outlines in specific detail the amount of arrests and lockups Gibson has faced. In all the ways that he's been a hardened criminal, it still appears to be a struggle to pin the murders to his name. Despite all the evidence and all the calls for justice, the man just slides through the cold steel bracelets of the law. No matter how much the people stop and protest and demonstrate, they cannot find peace unless there's someone to catch, or it's Gibson or whoever stole the lives of these victims. It is an amazing feat for one of the victims, the convenience store clerk who survived shots to his arm and head. This was no miracle, but simple biology. When the body of Ronald Wright of Wilmington grew cold, the jury had to wonder what caused such a drop in temperature. After viewing yet another string of videos, they had to think about the ideas concerning Gibson's innocence or guilt. When the actual footage aired, Carell ensure that the citizens of the jury pay attention to the bag of the figure that enters Wright's building and exits. That would be crucial as police arrested Gibson with a similar, if not the exact same bag, allegedly. If any truth is supposed to arise from all of this, it will still concern a black man dealing with the incarceration system. After years of run ins with a defensive team looking to get him stable housing, a job, and community supports, Gibson may still have to deal with the murder of 41-year-old Christine Lugo. In North Philadelphia, she saw her last glimpses of life. As it stands now, Gibson will not be tried for his slaying because it happened in Pennsylvania. Carroll, like a surgeon pointing out cancerous tissue, wanted to guide the jury to understand that the murder of Ruiz Basilio and Lugo had a connection. No matter the case, Gibson will most likely be able to have a life of relative comfort and maybe even splendor if he is found not guilty. The former would mean that he would be locked up behind bars. He will be given 3 meals a day and a place to sleep. He will be given a job and recreation. He will probably walk a dog and do yoga while behind bars. Until the decision is passed down, Gibson will be in a house or building. It's like George Carlin critiqued by wondering why the news media always said that a criminal was out on the streets. Gibson may be on his phone making a Threads profile thanks to Meta in his living room wearing Gucci slides and a robe. In place of the multiple murders that could be attached to Gibson, he could just slip through the system and find a way to keep his mind focused on studies at a community college. He could build his life into something that it should have been decades ago before his first day in trial mode. Once he considers the various studies he is able to pursue, he might just control his life for the better. It's either that or Carroll will dump an avalanche of evidence on his head and will be in a 6x9 cell. And he will be in a 6x9 cell. Still, he will be able to pursue a degree while behind bars, depending on the rules of the correctional facility. With the information that Wilson includes, it makes it simple to say that on the first day of trial proceedings, Gibson still has an issue. That issue that is hanging over his head like a Louisiana noose is, of course, Carroll. She seems intent on making sure he is on a 23-1 ratio of being inside locked doors and seeing the sun. We shall see what will happen in the future. Well, the future is here. The future is now. We have finally gotten to the point of judging what happened. The judge has sentenced Mr. Gibson, and this is what it looks like now. Let me see here. This is what's current. This just happened today. Keith Gibson gets 297 years on top of 7 life sentences for T-Mobile slayings. Judge Ferris Wharton did all he could. Judge Ferris Wharton did everything in his power to ensure that Keith Gibson will never breathe free air again. The felon who a jury convicted in November said the sentencing was bullshit. There it is. He apparently felt that his spree of killings at a T-Mobile in Ellesmere, along with the past convictions and killings that the prosecution noted, though he was not punished in Delaware for these crimes. His brazen, cavalier way of addressing the fact that he will always be incarcerated still reverberates around the state of Delaware. For him to take the lives of Leslie Ruiz Basilio, among others, paint him as the vicious miscreant that he is. For the families of the victims, they could not count on the state to send him to the electric chair or have lethal injections in his life, as Delaware no longer recognizes capital punishment. That's a shame. For this monster to still walk and talk and be afforded air conditioning in the summer and heat in the winter in prison, for him to sup on meals, for him to realize that he can sit in the day room and play cards and watch TV is abhorrent. Gibson had to look again at the faces of the people he hurt that called his victim's daughter or sister. For him to not realize that he is actually getting off lightly is sad. But it was all the judge could do. So Gibson will be serving thousands of years behind bars, but the lives that he destroyed can never be brought back into this world. What transpired, of course, was justice. Wharton's hands were not just tied but behind his back and wedged between two walls. Some might argue that Gibson deserves every year he received, but that doesn't assuage the people who had to bury their loved ones because of Gibson's hideous nature. No, he'll have a job in prison. He'll be able to crack jokes and sing songs to himself. None of this can be said of his victims. And the sentencing, Gibson must serve 4 life sentences with convictions of 2 counts of murder in the first degree. They represented the fact he killed with intent and recklessness. Wharton, in addition, sent Gibson away on life sentences based on robbery, weapons, and attempted murder. In this whole disgusting display that Gibson perpetrated, the judge still wanted to make a statement. With all the time that will be handed down to Gibson, he will have to contemplate the various murders he made happen. That is the truth to all of this. Gibson holds that all of this sentencing is false, but evidence has mounted against him in previous court appearances and even showed up again at the sentencing. In order for him to fully comprehend that he could still get the death penalty, once his Pennsylvania crimes get addressed by another judge, he might be looking at the ultimate in legal proceedings. If there is anyone out there who doesn't agree that this brute should get the maximum damnation, that would be sad. Gibson is still responsible for his crimes, as the jury said in November of 2023. To relegate his actions as a disgruntled man motions from an as disgruntled motions from an animal that rightfully belongs in a cage, or to drop dead would be the optimum choice for anyone with at least a smidgen of justice in their bones. Salute to Judge Wharton for his role in doing everything he could possibly do to show that Gibson must never live in liberty ever again. For utter garbage like Gibson, to direct his actions as he pleases will forever be banished from thought. Good riddance. So, that was my take on this case that happened, very close to home. Ellesmere is like 20 minutes away from my house. 25 minutes away. Yeah, so wanted to just put that out there. True crime. These are true crimes. This actually happened. This is reality. I have fiction too. I have fictional stories that I have. One like. Thank you. One person watching, one like. Whoever you are, I appreciate it. I know it's late. It's really late for me, especially. I'm not usually on this time. Bring it down a little bit. But yeah, so whoever you are, make sure you share this this story. Get more people. Tell somebody right now. Get on your X. Get on your Meta. Get on all kinds of platforms and let people know that I'm doing stories. This is original content from me, not somebody another story, and I'm just reporting on it. This is actual content that I wrote for vocal.media. Okay, so I'm gonna try to go to a story. Let's see how many more I can do. So this is an excerpt from a larger story, an entry, if you will, in the story. So it's called Crypto Murders Encrusted. This is fiction. This is all fiction. Okay? Kim keeps her mind on the case. Carver took it upon himself to be a gentleman. He dressed in a tuxedo and did not bring out the other dead girls. He looked at the living room woman and allowed them to pick whatever dress they wanted. He led them upstairs again where there was a ballroom with a robot DJ. The dresses were worth at least $10,000, resplendent in oranges and turquoise and purple and red. Meredith and Bao looked at each other. "Thank you," they said without expressiveness. "Don't be so glum." Carver went over to them and brought their frowns upside down. Now, they returned to their scowls. "I'm going to allow you ladies to undress and we'll be on our way to the dance floor." Woo! Bao turned to Meredith once Carver left. "We just play with his mind." "You don't know. You haven't seen the bodies." "The what?" "He's killed before." "Where are they?" Bao shrugged. "This is a sick prick. Whatever feelings he may have for him, Get rid of him. Don't take in any of his nonsense. Consider only the fact that he's a homicidal maniac that could go off us, could off us both at any moment. Meredith shook her head. I mean, at first, I was a bit leery of the whole idea, obviously, but I've become accustomed to the food and these dresses are. Stop it! He's planning to kill us. There's no getting around that. Jesus, we should start plotting. Meredith whispered just in case he bugged the room. He wouldn't mind being called a psycho, but any plan or to bring up a plot brought up against him would mean punishment and a slow, agonizing death. All right, so we just dress up and dance around with him? That's the idea. It'll still get us killed. Bao whispered, let's just slow the march towards death. Kim was sober and didn't have a headache. Her mind was even, and her body responded. She made herself an egg, guacamole, and tomato on toast. The papers that remained on her kitchen island spread out like fingers. All the practice she had in law enforcement and the marijuana seemed to coalesce into one. Surprisingly, the two did not clash. In fact, they provided her a window into considering the most outlandish ideas. A yearning for them was more essential to her own way of thinking. Good morning, Detective Pothead, Darby said. Ha ha, I've got something. I've been able to draw something close to conclusions. The weed is the answer, apparently, he said. Lay off the marijuana jokes, she admonished. Did you say smoke? Ha ha ha. I've got it. You're expressing your life. I know. I'll quit. With the power to keep going with the investigation, essentially pro bono, I make it possible for you to make your wisecracks. What are you doing while I live off the proceeds from my book while these young women are being taken? Darby was struck dumb. He thought wrong about Kim again with her platinum and diamond encrusted mind. I didn't. Forget it. We've got this case to handle and champion. Lives are on the line as we speak. If we are to be benefiters of this situation, it is important to remember that we're on a timeline. Yes, of course, Darby said with confidence. That's what I like to hear. Once you realize that the monster out there can and will be outsmarted, the closer we will be to nabbing him or her or them, she remarked. Whatever it is, I'm glad you're riding with us. Don't get all mushy with me. We have to stay focused, says the weedhead. Darby, god damn it. So that's one fiction. That's one part of the, a multiple part series that I've written. Two people in here. Who are these two people? Get in the top chat. Let me know who you are. Let me see what you're working with. I need 2 likes. If I have 2 people in here, I have 1 like. It's a problem. I need that second like. Hit the like button. This is special. Let me put that. It's a Skyler Saunders Seeing Special Stories. All S's. So you get that alliteration going. All right, so let's see. Crypto murders, mainstream. Kim leans into the case. Dance music flooded the room. Smoke machines and lasers produced a sense of wonder in the air. The 2 women looked around. A voice came over the loudspeaker. All right, ladies, it's time to boogie to the beat. Carver sounded particularly saccharine. His voice rumbled through the space. A robot came down from the ceiling and began dancing. Meredith and Bao had tear-streaked faces as they tried to move to the music. Their punishment came in the form of entertainment which confounded them both. Bao stood completely still. Meredith started moving around a bit. She stopped crying and tried to get in the spirit. Look at Meredith, Bao. She's got the idea. Keep it going. Bao moved slowly to the fast and energetic music. She felt her soul slowly dying. Meredith was in full carnival mode. Her hands thrust into the air and she moved her legs in an awkward and jerky manner. It took a while for them to understand the various gimmicks going on around them. They still didn't expect the dead women to be rolled out one by one. Meredith looked and gave out a blood-curdling shriek. It took every ounce of her body not to leave the room, which was locked away. Bao had already experienced their cold, blank stares. She found herself in the corner, sobbing uncontrollably. Bowles started to move. Yes, I know that the women were. I figured as much, but what are the coordinates to the house? We can't track the burners. I know that, but maybe there is some record of the calls. Kim questioned. There's nothing we can do about it. The hell there isn't. Kim hung up the phone on seeing Kits. Her sabbatical was almost over for her. She felt like running through a field, finding whoever this bastard was and bashing in his brains. She knew he could not do anything close to this except in the name of self-defense. She knew she could not do anything close to this except in the name of self-defense. It took her strength to contend with her own personal problems. She picked up her vaporizer. After a few pulls, she felt the effects of the drug. It put her in a sedate, comfy mood. Still triggered by the past events in her life, she blew out the marijuana vapor and reminisced on her life and career like a movie reel shows highlights and lowlights. By taking into consideration her own sense of being well put together, she reached a point where she could finally relax. Her muscles loosened and her brain eased. Kim's mind kept going despite the interference of outside stimuli. All of her energy she used in piecing together the case. It didn't take long for her to realize that this son of a bitch stood for zero values. A complete nihilist, he must have killed Thurgood Hunt and his wife. She looked through the records and facts. She kept looking at the ideas and wanted to make a digital board on her tablet. So she did that. Once she observed all the aspects of the case, she didn't stop until she found break in the investigation. Anything that gave her a clue. She was doing it. She actually put herself in the position of a winner. The THC continued to circulate through her system. An enhanced her imagination and allowed her to combine alternative truths and make them mainstream in her consciousness. When she finally came to a conclusion, she knew better than to leap on it. She had within her grasp a firm understanding that the miscreant had been planning to do this for months prior. The weeks that passed only meant that she could take her life even more seriously. And that was Mainstream, an entry into the Crypto Murders series. I'm going to continue on. Still got 2 people. Okay, now 0 people watching. It was at 2 people tops, and 1 like. That second person was like, I'm not going to like it. I'll watch it for a little while, but I'm not going to like it. That's all right. That's cool. This is just for fun. I'm getting money either way. Looking for the stories right now. Looking for my next one. Here we go. Crypto murders. That's police work. Marijuana vapor floated throughout Kim's house. Its potency could knock over a small elephant. She truly enjoyed vaporizing. The effects took hold and made her focus. She developed and generated new ideas to the tune of 200 different leads. She singled out the mansion and Hokason again. The entirety of the investigation will rest on her being able to discover the ways the trails led. She got better and better at the task of stripping apart the non-essentials and honing in on the facts that sprang up. In particular, she found her own pace and rhythm that permitted her to become the best digger in her own way. She understood the excellence of her own mind. She greeted the data like a lover's kiss. Then she thought of him. She quickly transitioned from one distinct idea to the next with an active and smooth transition. The tools she used from her days as a detective propelled her to become better at her role as a pseudo-investigator at this point. But maybe it was once an investigator, always an investigator. She blew out the vapor and felt a chill. Her stomach grumbled. She made herself a salmon wrap with chips. As she ate she put down the vaporizer. And continued to look at the charts, which showcased the points that led to the suspect. When she had trained her eye on that mansion, she knew that she had to act on it. She looked at the day with a tiger's eye. She circled around her living room. She chose which options she could use to connect the various points on the digital board. She knew how important it was to close in on this case. These young women who could barely speak English were being snatched. She had to find a way to nab this guy before another woman was lost. She noticed the disappearance of a man from a homeless shelter. He fit a lot of descriptions that witness had mentioned. He had just left without checking out or anything. She related his disappearance to that of coal magnate Muammar Golster. The billionaire had been missing at the same time as the suspect. She finished her meal and pulled on the vaporizer. She kept taking all her time. In between the levels of enjoying the smoke, she still remained in tune with what she was doing. The patterns that emerged came through in colors. The waves of different hues prompted her to say that there was something more fishy than her sandwich going on here. By learning through her mistakes, she seriously considered the route of calling on the maids and drivers of Mr. Golster. Since he lived by himself and had many girlfriends, she flirted with the idea of calling them as well. That's police work. I'm no longer a police officer, but once a cop, she phoned St. Kitts. Say the jokes. You and Darby are the worst. I've got a connection that you should be apprised of. What's that? He asked. Golster. The billionaire? What about? He disappeared when the snatching started occurring. Exactly. So the pothead professor can make some ways when it comes to steering an investigation she's not officially privy to. Clever girl. What are you from Britain? She enjoyed a deep laugh. Okay. You might have something here, but I want to make sure. Send your screenshot of the digital board and we'll continue to move from there. Roger. After she sent the screenshot, she walked around the townhouse barefoot and just wearing a DIT sweatshirt and shorts. She sat down at her tablet and typed up a letter for the FBI to read. It was more like a white paper. The professor in her challenged her to be clear and concise. Another entry. I'm going to do some cleaning up. I have to clean up some things. I have to clean up a few things on here. Just a few things I need to get tidied up. Let me see. Just not a huge deal, but something that's still important. Some grammatical and spelling errors. They always say you should read your story out loud. I didn't. Sometimes I don't pay attention to that. Well, in the future, though, trust me. It is. It's a great time. I'm making stories. The idea of vocal.media is great. Everybody's like, oh, Substack and Medium. Nobody talks about vocal. That's the craziest thing. Nobody talks about vocal. I've made thousands of dollars with vocal.media. Thousands. So it's worth it. It's worth it. I think it's $110 a year, something like that. I made well over that. So definitely worth it. Since 2017. So something to consider, definitely. Something definitely to consider. It's if you have the knack for writing poetry, they got so many different communities, just writers, science fiction and writing about pop culture and just a whole lot more, fashion, makeup, all of that. Anything you pretty much can think of, they got it covered. And just fiction. If you want to just write fiction, they just have all fiction. It's wonderful. All right, here's Crypto Murders representing something more. The detectives inch closer to the case. Oh, yeah? I heard about those girls. Sad thing because their parents came here for a dream, Rayford said. Is it okay if we come in? Sure, yeah, come on. Come in. The acoustics surrounding the cages were Bow and Meredith stayed upheld. They're up there, the footsteps, and voices. They're muffled. Scream, Meredith, Bell encouraged. The two women screamed. They shouted their lungs out until tears streaked their faces. They couldn't tell where the dead bodies were, but they screamed for them to be found, too. They wanted the nightmare to cease. Just Darby and St. Kitts journeyed. As Kim was not part of the investigation as an official, she just looked at the messages that the duo fed her. No, it's okay. I've been in this house since my dad died. Those are his Italian stallions and bulls outside. That's the story got weird. Darby would tell Kim. He started to chuckle a little bit. They didn't have the detectives to know that he was completely nervous. It felt as if he didn't know everything, and yet there was a quiet confidence in him. His jokes landed in his own mind. That was alarming. But nothing. No signs of trauma, no signs of force, or any violations of rights. No signs of anyone, St. Kitts chimed. What did you find with the amount of belongings besides the cars? We didn't find a whole lot. The place looked gutted, clean, almost sterile. Nothing. The guy had that balance of cool and anxiety that only a serial killer could pull off, but we didn't find a shred of evidence. It almost spooked me, Darby admitted. St. Kitts circled around Kim's island. We're going to see if you can be on the case. It's unorthodox, but we'll be able to see if you can be added as a contingent. She still remembers. Wait, no. I have 4 days left on my sabbatical, Kim encountered. Extend it, St. Kitts fired back. I'm sure your book sales and the movie option are keeping up the place. Kim stood frozen. It was like she had slowed in the tunnel of time and it just passed by her like two-way traffic. If I do this, it has to be done my way, the whole way. We're going to nab this son of a bitch, whether it takes all the power of the FBI. These women deserve it. We know you. We know you. If it happens that we don't take this case seriously, it will mar law enforcement from here to the future. We have to understand our role as being part of a thing that is not larger than ourselves, but just ourselves, Kim explained. It's going to take our very souls to fight this menace, she continued. St. Kitts and Darby exchanged glances. They knew they were dealing with a woman with a brain and had worked her on a landmark case. They knew she had been the only woman to be convincing of her words. The money and the marijuana were some things, but overall, she represented something more. Kim looked at the two agents with esteem and mutual respect. They all wanted to bury this guy, and they took the time to ensure that this would come to pass. They were here, Meredith said. Yes, but can't we just go to pieces? We can't just go to pieces. We're going to have to bury this one with total focus on freeing ourselves. Do you understand? Bao asked. Meredith sniffed but kept a straight face. She looked on and then leaned over and hugged Bao. The hug seemed like a bonding that the two women needed desperately. I kind of like that one. I like them all, but that one especially. See if I can get another story going here. Crypto murders, nooks and crannies. The detectives and the author move closer by asking questions. The trick to having a former detective on a case that we're initially a part of was to let her do all the talking. Yes, you were introduced to Agent St. Kitts and Darby. I know you, Rayford said. You think you know me, but you have no idea, Kim retorted. All right, this is amazing. A real celebrity in my house. How cool is this? Rayford had gushed. We're looking for these women, Kim said it, and then looked outside at the $300,000 vehicle parked with the front tire deflated. I ran over a tuna can, if you can believe it. Kim replied. Have you seen them? Have you even interacted with them? It's just like you. I've seen their faces on TV and print all over the place on social media. Okay, so you've never seen them in person. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to paint a picture of me taking those girls. Women, Darby corrected. Whatever. I want whoever took them to be caught. Why didn't you fix the tire? Darby asked. Haven't had the time, I guess. What keeps you busy? Trying to take care of this house, for one. I got bills from my uncle. I thought you said it was your dad. Dad, uncle, he was a lot to me. I was young when he took me in. Then I didn't know when I'd be altered in any serious way. The challenge was just seeing him deteriorate, but I'm working through it. If you want to keep the place running, why not sell it and have professionals take it over for you? I want to do it all myself. Do you keep young women here by yourself too? Kim asked. Rayford shot a glance at her. He then advanced slightly. Like I said, I want whoever is abducting and holding these women hostage to see justice. Does justice reflect back to you in the mirror? St. Kitts asked. The mounted questions made his head spin. Rayford, Rayford no longer wanted to play this game of question and answer. Look, this is the second you both have been here. You brought the famous Kim Jurgensen along. Bravo, but you got nothing on me. Nothing. Even though you have a record for the flights that came in from Wilmington Airport, Kim pointed out. She lit the pieces of paper on the long dining room table. You started out picking the women up, but then you got a flat and never bothered to get it fixed. So you sent car services to capture the women. Tell me when I start lying. I'm telling you, I just got back from doing some light repairs, and the damn can in the road pissed me off when I hit it. I almost got into an accident, but I held steady. The whole thing was carried over in time that I found a decent place for some of my friends to stay. They had their first flight from Poland. Where are your friends? Derby asked. That's none of your business. I'm a federal agent. I know it is my business. I just have to have a few young ladies who come here to stay a week or two and go back home. Kim frowned. I don't see a great amount of Polish air flights, just domestic, from Boston and New York, the same places where the women originated. He breathed heavily and sweat formed on his brow. We know. You want a lawyer, Darby mentioned. Carver Rayford, under you're under arrest for the kidnapping. They searched the house, uniforms all matched together, and then split out to find the nooks and crannies. Definitely got some work to do. When you read it, it's like it's totally different. It's like it's a totally different thing when you read it aloud. Maybe from this point forward, I'm going to definitely read aloud all the different stories. It just is, it just more efficient. I'll say when you can just say, you just write them and have them published. It's more streamlined, I guess. Greg S. Yo, is this live? Yes, it is live, Greg S. Thank you, sir. This is live. Share it with your friends. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's real late. I know. I at least got 2 likes. At least got 2 likes. Not mad. But I'm doing a special. This is the Skyler Saunders Sing Special Stories. So I hope you're enjoying them. I hope you're enjoying the stories. I'm not the best reader for different stories, but I am a pretty good reader. I'm just not the greatest. I'm very good. It's not great. Okay. This is the next story. Crypto murders for the criminally insane. The detectives praise Kim. Meredith and Bao looked composed as they walked in front of the cameras. Ladies, what did you do when you got put in the basement? I'm sorry, my clients aren't taking any questions. The two of them journeyed to a car and then sped away. You're looking at life in prison, son, Darby said. St. Kitts was there. Kim did not attend. Archie looked around with a vape pen and some donuts and a soda in front of him. What do you think of that? What do you think when you murdered 5 women? And I guess it should be. I'm gonna change it right now. See, y'all are gonna see it in the inner workings of my brain. Change it. Let me make sure. I guess it's okay. I'm gonna just keep it moving. He said, yo, is this live? All right. Archie looked around with a vape pen and some donuts. What do you think of that? What do you think of when you murdered 5 women and kidnapped 2? I feel free. I wanted to do it. I needed to do it. Throw me behind bars. My memories of making those women into permanent figures and ready to groom them. I did it for fun. Darby's and Kit's exchanged glances. They were cold and exacting looks at each other. I don't think you know what this means. If you are all prepared to do at least 80 years behind bars, you'll be 140. It's not likely you'll be let out of prison. Do you get that? Yes, I do. I want to die in prison. I'm going to dress up. You're going to be in solitary confinement. There will be no dressing up. 23-hour lockdown, and you'll see the sun from a small cylindrical space made of concrete. Okay, I can deal with that. That's something that makes me feel like I can live that life. Why did you do it? What was your motive? St. Kitts asked. I wanted to see young businesswomen in nice clothes and eating great food. Why'd you have to kidnap them? I felt I was supposed to give them something in death that they couldn't find in life. They always worked so hard. They didn't have the notion to dress up in excellent garb. They were used to the business suits and egg rolls. I provided a lifestyle for them that recalled the greatest days of the Renaissance. But they were dead, not the last 2. But I would have worked on. But I would have worked on them too. The penalty may mean death for you as well. That's fine. I did my greatest work. I can die a happy man. It took everything for special agents not to leap across the table and grab Archie by the throat. In all their years in service, they had never come across a suspect so nonchalant and aloof. His face twitched and his face became a beaming smile. They wanted to thrash him, but remember their discipline and professionalism. Are there any other bodies? No. His tone was sincere. It required a cloying tone note that dripped with saccharine. He bit into the donut and blew vapor from the pen. Will there be any other women en route to your house? I had a few on call. Did you kill Mr. Huntington too? I did. Why? Did you see that house? I've got a stack of vacant tickets. I want to get in that mansion. I want to drive those cars. I needed to. Jesus wanted me to do that. He wanted me to be with a beautiful woman and live in a gorgeous house. Won't you want the same? Our questions only. Now, did you take the time to pick each woman off by one? Yes, they were under my care. I provided a service that allowed them to be themselves. St. Kitts and Darby walked out of the room and allowed Archie to just sit and vape. He completely detached. You think? St. Kitts replied. If you don't have a psych ward prepared, we're going to need one for this guy. No jury is going to convict this guy of the murders and not expect the judge to sentence him to a life term or death. He's going to end up in a psych ward for the criminally insane. I agree, partner. Kim should be seeing this. I don't know how she does it, but she did it again. I like her millions, Darby said. Earn them. So we had some issues with the names. I started one name one day and then another the next. It is just the continuity flaws I have in my stories. Glad I'm able to share them with you. He said, "Is this live?" Of course, you see what it says in the corner. It says live. He's funny. And we have a few more stories. Crypto murders. Goddamn shame. The detectives grilled the culprit. He finished the donut. Are there more St. Kitts asked. I swear to God, they were only the ones in the house. Are there more living as well? Darby questioned. Archie's face darkened. I had 2 of them there. They're behind a concrete slab and acoustic walls. That's why it took so long for your people to never found them. That's it? Darby continued. Get a team to rip the house apart. Copy. I saw a slice into the wall where Meredith and Bauer resided. They were dirty but happy at the fact that someone had come to rescue them. We're going to get you out of here, okay? Out of there, okay? Meredith and Bao hugged each other as the sparks from the rig saw flew from the metal teeth and sliding on metal bars. Once they were free, they then held hands and walked with the law enforcement officers out of the building. They continued all the way up and out to paparazzi and news journalists from all over the country and the world. What had been a Delaware story had ballooned into a full-fledged spectacle. I told you before, I just wanted to see them in pretty dresses and feed them excellent food. It was a passion of mine. I wanted to bring them joy. You brought them death, St. Kitts asserted. Not all of them. Okay, so most of them, God damn it. So we don't have to drain any swamps anytime soon, do we? No. Do we? No. If we find a way that you've dumped a woman in a box somewhere, I've only told you the truth. Why would I start lying now? St. Kitts looked at Darby. The latter started talking again. Everything you said, everything you've done is going to damn you. I don't care if you want to be Mr. Honesty. We're going to dig and dig. Darby said, and St. Kitts held him back. The two special agents looked at each other. Darby's eyes darted back and forth and then left the room. St. Kitts sat down again. We have enough against you. You're going to have a lawyer assigned to you because of your indigent status. When you're going to serve time or maybe death, you're getting one of the two. I have a question. What's that? Can I see Miss Jurgensen again? She's not an official in this case. She remains a civilian from now on into the future. Okay. All right, guard. St. Kitts called and Archie headed to a cell. St. Kitts gave Darby a latte. It's a goddamn shame, St. Kitts said. What's that? Could have been a simple kid who was homeless, houseless, residentially challenged, whatever. This could have all been avoided. We both know he's not going to prison and definitely not going to get in the needle. He'll rot away in some psych ward. He's not going to have a future because he took away futures. Goddamn shame. Darby and St. Kitts traveled to Kim's house. She was still dressed and looking at notifications on her phone and news flashes on her TV. By pointing to the different people who knew better, like Kim, she could take all of her time and listen to what the special agents had to say. They brought her a latte, too. How'd you keep him honest? All he had was a few short sentences. He told us about the woman you saw exit the house. Kim nodded in agreement. What we're considering is opening up a store for ex-cops to help poor old FBI agents. Darby let the gallows humor flow. I appreciate both of your gratitude towards me, Kim smirked. Getting close to the finish line now. As far as the stories are going. And by the way, I have a crypto murders story that's supposed to have been posted today. I submitted it 12 hours ago. I wrote the piece on Keith Gibson. That was published 6 hours ago. So Vocal does have its quirks and weird, stuff like that. So it's not perfect, but it is pretty good. It is very good. It's not really excellent, but it's very good. It's like a B plus, A minus, kind of excellent. Anybody out there? Still got 0 viewers? I'm waiting for the rebroadcast. I want to see if there really are people that's going to watch the rebroadcast. I think I'm going to have like 3 or 4 viewers at the end of this post. But we shall see. We shall see. I think, people are engaged in this. So. All right, so here we go. This is the last crypto murder story. And I like it. God damn it. Crypto murders. Heyday. This is the last, published one. I honestly thought it was the end of me. That this maniac was going to slit my throat and put me in a $10,000 dress, Val said on the stand. And what were your thoughts about Meredith? I wanted her safe too. We became like they would say battle buddies become in war or prisoners in a POW camp. We bonded. Of course, that's textbook and expected, but it's so true. Did he make any sexual advance toward either of you? No. He was a gentleman by comparison in that department. He didn't want us for sex or to poison us or to torture us. He wanted to play with us like we were dolls, dead or alive. You could just say a word on how you were able to breathe free air once again. Yes, sure. We were just screaming our guts out, making our kind of noise that would alert someone. We noticed he didn't return to where were, so so we just belted out every yelp and holler we could muster. When the agents broke through the bars, I thought I had a second life. It felt like fetters had fallen to the floor. I was in a state of bliss, of ecstasy. It truly felt as if we were going to come back to kill us. I just feel sorry for the families of the other women. Val began to cry. Often she was the one telling Meredith to get a grip, but now she was the one who had tears burst from her eyes like dew from blades of grass. Thank you, Miss Chang. I called Meredith Zhang to the stand. Prosecutor Miguel Stanfield looked at the courtroom and then to Meredith. Can you point out the man who abducted you and held you as a prisoner? Yes, she pointed directly at Archie. Now for the moment that you were with Miss Chang, did you ever feel like all this would be over and working in your favor? I don't believe in God, but I believe in myself. I'm aware of the fact that so many people probably wouldn't believe the hell we were put through. Her voice cracked, but she didn't cry. I wanted to kill myself after a while, but I had no power. Stanfield looked at the records. It seemed to him that the reason why there was no mention of the other women. Authorities couldn't find the bodies of the other women. They were there. They sat up in satin gowns and ate dinner with us on more than one occasion. I want to rip that house apart, but you both assert their existence in forensics teams didn't find a trace. Then a member of this council went up and spoke something in Stanfield's ear. I'm sorry. Forgive me, Judge. There have been a new set of evidence that has arisen. 5 women were brutally murdered by the defendant. Miss Zhang, I appreciate your honesty, and please pardon me if it seems like I didn't believe you. It's all right. If you know, you know. She sniffled and laughed extremely lightly. I thank you. You may step down, Miss Zhang. No further questions, Your Honor. The defense attorney stood. She was a chain smoker named Angelina and was a looker in her heyday. She had been eating powdered donuts and smoking, and her features took on a negative effect. Her voice sounded like she chewed gravel. What we have here is a man who wanted a stylish, fashionable existence. He didn't understand the difference between reality and what wasn't. I'm asking that the jury just be aware of this fact and that he deserves his day in court, too. So there you have it. Those are all the stories. Those are all the stories we have. That's the sad part about all this is that this can actually happen. This actually happens. I mean, you can see this on Dateline and 2020 and different things like that. This is. I don't think I was necessarily inspired by an actual event like this, but there have been so many cases like the Ohio case. There's women that they weren't killed, but they were held hostage for years. That's just crazy to think about. So hope you enjoyed them. Hope you enjoyed those stories. I'm just going go through my day. My day was very relaxing. I didn't have too many things. We went shopping. Um, Swag and Kicks. Damn. Did you enjoy the stories? Did you read it? Did you listen to the stories? And will you donate? Need donations, sir. Plus, I need that like. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that stuff. Swag and Kicks. If you haven't subscribed already. Flick Teresa. Who is Flick Teresa? What is Flick Teresa? I have no idea what you're talking about, but that's okay. What are you talking about, sir? I don't know what you're talking about, Swaggin' Kicks, but I appreciate you. Make sure you hit that like button. Yeah, so I just wanted to switch it up, give some original content. I haven't given original content in weeks, if not months. I want to, show a different side to Skyler Saunders scene rather than just hip hop. What's going on in the world of the hip hop zines and stuff like that. But we can talk about thoughts. We can go there. I don't know any personally, but we can talk about them if you want. Shannon, who's Shannon? I don't know who Shannon is. You're saying some random stuff right now, my friend. Shannon. I don't know. I don't even know a Shannon. But make sure you hit that donate button. The donate button is there for, there's not an actual donate button, but Venmo, PayPal, Cash App. Send just, $10, $20. I'll hold that. $10, $20. Cash App. $10, $20. About that Skrilla, this is all Skrilla. Those stories, all those stories gave me money. I've been able to achieve, great amounts of cash because of it. So I appreciate it. Certainly appreciate it. So hit that Cash App. Make sure you support the machine. Hit that like button. Make sure it goes from 2 to 3. Swagging Kicks, if you're still out there. I know you are because it still says 1. You ain't worth $1. Oh, here we go, Swagging Kicks. Why am I not worth $1 when I have amassed over 44,000 views? I've made over $1,000, maybe 1,100, something like that, dollars. I'm not worth it though. Really, I'm not worth $1. I think you're in the minority, sir. I have thousands of likes that I've earned. So you saying I'm not worth $1? You're definitely in the minority because I have people that can vouch for me. Speaking of which, I can say all the different people that support the machine. If you would like to know about the products, it has a great website. But my man Peng, he has LIFESTRONGApparel.com. Check out that site. Tell him that Skyler Saunders sent you, and be keen to the products, sea moss and gummies. I don't know about them, but I would imagine they're of quality. So make sure you check out LifeStrongApparel.com. Also, subscribe to BEEJACKSON 5478 on YouTube.com. He's a chef, he's a cook, he's a beer drinker, near beer drinker. He's just an all around fun guy. He's a good guy. Make sure you tell him that I sent you, Skyler Saunders. Also, if you want to listen to Najee, Kim, Mary J. Blige, a whole lot of other artists, make sure you check out Spirit Smooth Tunes on YouTube.com and tell them I sent you. Also, go to twitch.tv/.focus/ and you'll find this great guy, Dot Focus. He definitely holds me down, so I appreciate his abilities. and definitely check them out. Also, if you want to advertise, if you want to sponsor Skyler Saunders Seeing, you can go to SKYLERSAUNDERS at gmail.com. And as a little bit of a boost, you can join Skyler's 100 Club by contributing $100 or more in a month to the broadcast. What do you get? You will get a blue wrench, and you will be able to use that by putting whatever business you are in and conveying that to a wider audience. Also, the way I get paid, PayPal, paypal.me/Skyler Saunders, Venmo at Skylerize, SKYLERIZED, Cash App, $SKYLERSAUNDERS1. And I've raised $0 during this whole time. That's okay. All right, here's got talk about jokes. Hoes. I'm the only one here. Stop. One person here. No persons are here. But I get it in the rebroadcast. So I'd like to thank people like Greg S. And even, broke bum niggas like Swag and Kicks. He doesn't understand the formula. So that's just on him. So that's his loss. But I thank everyone who came through. And I thank all the future rebroadcast viewers for watching this and sharing it. And I hope you enjoy my stories. So have a great night. It's a Friday. We kind of more relaxed. And I just thought we should have a special. So thank you again. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.